Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. In the passage of scripture we're looking at today, Zechariah has just received his voice back after being muted for 9 months of enforced silence. And he starts with a message to the people as they have just named his child John, who later became John the Baptist. And so here's the finishing part of his message. In Luke chapter 1, verses 74 to 80, and I'm reading from the New Living Translation, second edition, it says, "We have been rescued from our enemies, so we can serve God without fear, in holiness and righteousness, for as long as we live. And you, my little son, will be called the prophet of the Most High, because you will prepare the way for the Lord. You will tell his people how to find salvation through forgiveness of their sins. Because of God's tender mercy, the morning light from heaven is about to break upon us, to give light to those who sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, and to guide us to the path of peace." John grew up and became strong in spirit, and he lived in the wilderness until he began his public ministry to Israel. Zechariah said we are rescued from our enemies. And I'm not sure he wasn't specific about what enemies he meant. He could have meant the enforced muteness he had just suffered. He could have meant the disbelief that had caused the muteness to occur, thinking God couldn't possibly perform that miracle. It could be the oppressive Roman government. It could be the people that had given him a hard time for the past 9 months when he couldn't speak. But he says God's rescued us from our enemies. And so what is our response to that? It is to serve God without fear. When God does something wonderful, one of the things it's supposed to do is to take away our fear, to where we can serve him without being afraid of the opinions of other people, or of the possible consequences, or what might happen to us, or what other people will think. We can serve without fear. And he also mentions we can serve in holiness and righteousness as recipients of God's grace, as recipients of God's wonderful, amazing love and care. We need to respond with fearlessness, holiness, and righteousness. And then he spoke to his son, and he says, you're going to shine a light. You're going to shine the light and prepare the way and tell the people how to find salvation through the forgiveness of their sins. When we live in fearlessness, when we live in holiness, when we live in righteousness, it shines a light into the dark places of the world and gives us the opportunity to tell people how to find salvation through the forgiveness of sins. This week, may you and I respond to God's beautiful, wonderful, amazing grace with our own fearlessness, with our own boldness, with our own holiness, and with our own righteousness. And may we commit to shine the light in the dark places, that people may find forgiveness of their sins and salvation through the forgiveness of their sins. May you and I be the shiners of the light this week. God bless you.